Dragon Ball Super is arguably one of the most controversial series out there, and there's a certain paradox that surrounds it. Hey guys, what's good? This is Dorian here, and before starting this video, I'd just like to say that if you do enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. So Dragon Ball Super is the continuation of Dragon Ball Z before Goku leaves to train with the Kais, partly due to the failure of Dragon Ball GT as a series. Early on, Dragon Ball Super did really well as a series, as it adapted the first two movies made after 2010, those being The Battle of the Gods and Resurrection F respectively. The series did well because fans were already fond of new transformations like Golden Frieza and Super Saiyan Blue, as well as new characters like Lord Beerus. Dragon Ball Super managed to deliver hype, and it does a really good job at that too, with fans still anticipating and waiting for more content. It is an impressive achievement considering how long it has been since we last got Dragon Ball content before Dragon Ball Super, though at the same time it could also at least partly be attributed to Dragon Ball being a legendary series as it is. Dragon Ball Super was also appreciated at first, at least at the start and the first few arcs. Fan found the Goku Black arc fun, with Black already becoming an iconic character, and the Universe 6 saga built up a lot of suspense with characters like it. Later on, the Tournament of Power arc also built up a lot of anticipation with characters like Jiren, and this saga was where Dragon Ball Super's popularity skyrocketed, with fans eagerly waiting for the next episode each week, and by the time the arc ended, the last episode had literally broken the internet. New Dragon Ball Super content like Dragon Ball Super Broly, as well as the Heroes movie, also keeps fans hyped up, as well as the manga and its recent installments. Although at the same time, Dragon Ball Super is not very appreciated, with many fans comparing it to fanfiction material, especially during the Goku Black saga with Super Saiyan Blue and other transformations. This criticism is understandable though, because after a while, transformations in Dragon Ball did just become an increase in power level and change in hair color. Like Dragon Ball Z, where when Goku went Super Saiyan against his fight with Frieza and his hair turned blonde, this had meaning behind it as the color represented Goku's determination to fight Frieza, so the transformation had deeper meaning behind it, and each transformation afterwards, Goku's hair became longer, representing his will increasing to beat his opponent and getting stronger, especially the case of Super Saiyan 3 where Goku's hair was the longest, literally down to his feet and even longer than that. Whereas Dragon Ball Super took transformations less seriously in comparison in this aspect, though I still like them personally. At the same time, Dragon Ball Super also lacks the quality of the original Dragon Ball storytelling. Although this is understandable though, as Dragon Ball Super was written a long time after Dragon Ball Z, so things weren't exactly fresh there. On top of that, it was written by a different author, partly though. So this raises the question, is Dragon Ball Super good or is it bad? This creates a paradox because on one hand fans do enjoy it, but on the other they also complain about it. So on one hand it does create a lot of hype, although on the other the criticism around it are not exactly invalid. So what really is true? Is Dragon Ball Super good or is it bad? Well, to answer the question, my dear viewers, it's a bit of both. Although Dragon Ball Super raises a lot of hype every time and it ends up being enjoyable, the problem however is that it does not really live up to the original Dragon Ball. Meaning that though Dragon Ball Super is decent, it is far from being good as the original Dragon Ball, and pales in comparison as an inferior continuation. Dragon Ball Super did a lot of things right, but it also has a lot of sins, primarily for example how characters such as Majin Buu, Gohan, and Piccolo were treated in most of the show. They were kinda just cast aside, with primary focus being on Goku and Vegeta only. Vegeta was in comparison also less ruthless in Super, which is actually a good thing on one hand because it displays his character development since Z, although at the same time a softer Vegeta is not as likable because his colder character in contrast to Goku was what made him appealing as a character. Partly though, a large part of his charm also comes from him being the most relatable character with a lot of development surrounding him and his experiences with defeat and having to be the second and at one point even the third to someone else despite feeling more worthy to it because of his heritage and other factors. Another good thing Dragon Ball Super did was bring back Broly, because Broly is a character fans have loved since his debut in the filler movies, so making him canon was a good idea, though it still required a lot of additional steps to do so. Furthermore, Dragon Ball Super as a series is also admirable because in comparison to a series like Boruto, which continued another legendary series, that being Naruto, Dragon Ball Super really does stand out as a series. So yeah, Dragon Ball Super has a lot of goods as well as a lot of flaws. So, to answer the question gamers, Dragon Ball Super is an alright series which has an innumerable amount of flaws, however it is still not as good as the original Dragon Ball, and for good reasons at that, not just because Dragon Ball Super came after Dragon Ball Z and the newer thing is usually less appreciated than the original, which is the framework that a lot of people do tend to think from, but rather in fact for good and genuine reasons at that. Though at the same time, while there may be people who do hate on Dragon Ball Super for those reasons, or just because it is the popular opinion to do so, I don't think a lot of them do. With that being said guys, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. With that being said, I'll see you later in the next one. Peace gamers, bye!